Hello. This video is going to discuss the list view management tool that is available in Simply List Views Enterprise. List view management in Salesforce and even in the free version of Simply List Views is a little laborious. For standard Salesforce, you need to go to each individual object. You need to go and select a list view or create a new one based on another list view, etc. And in Simply List Views, for the custom list views, you need to go and create a record and insert the particular data that you need, API names, etc., custom Apex classes. And one of the big things, the big hurdles to get over is the list view columns and the list view query that need to be created. This has all been wiped aside with Enterprise, and we now have a tool that is available for people to use in order to create list views. One of the things to note about this tool is that it needs the metadata API in order to do its work. And so the user must have access to the metadata API and must have modify all data and create permissions on the list view object itself. Now, the tool can be accessed in a few ways. One of them is via a modal. So a modal is available as a component. And I have an example here with a button where you can click the button and the modal is displayed, which is very nice if you want to make it available just as a button on a page. And the other example is just having it straight on a page, just like this. You've got the entire page to use, and then that's all great. I'll stick to this page for demo purposes as we can kind of see what's going on here. So there are four things that we can do as actions: create, update, clone, and delete. So classic CRUD. And what I'll do is I'll go through each of these and discuss the features as we go. Um, Now, when you're creating and handling all these list views, remember that we can do both standard and custom list views, right? Simply list views as well as standard Salesforce list views. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a standard Salesforce list view just to start. We're going to go with a basic account, and we're going to just call it demo test one. Click next, and then we can add in whatever fields we need. Let's just add in, and add in that as well. Click next. Okay, we can add all of our visibility, our filters, all that kind of stuff. And then we can click save. Now, what happens here is that it's using the metadata API to make a deployment. Okay, and therefore that means that this can take a little bit more time than as usual. Okay, a name already exists for this particular list view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back. We're going to change this to make it 5 just to make sure that it is different. Move through here, click save. Yeah, so it makes deployments and therefore it takes a little bit longer. And of course, it uses the metadata API in order to do its work. So the users who use this need to have the correct permissions set up as mentioned. So in a couple of seconds, this should be done, hopefully. There we go. And what we should be able to do is go to our account page and open up our test demo 5, demo test 5. There it is. And we can see all of everything that's been displayed. Right, great. That all works. Now what we can also do here is we can create custom list views. Now, of course, custom list views allow us to use the more enhanced features that Simply List Views provides. One of them being, complex queries, for example, where we can have children inside, so we can ask for all accounts as well as their contacts. So we can go and find an associated object that this list view should be a part of. I'll just make it an account. And let's go demo test 6. And this is where we're going to be adding in our SOQL queries, right? And some people are know how to create these, some people don't. There are different ways of doing this. You can either put in your query right here. You can also add field selector, and of course, Simply List Views allows for lookup values to be used here, right? So we can, find all owners that are active, accounts with owners that are active, etc. You can go in here and you can put in your where clause exactly, and it works great. Um, Another alternative, and then of course you can test your SOQL, so to make sure it's valid, and you should always do that before you, um, move forward. Uh, Another option here is to use AI, and this allows for natural language to be entered and then for a SOQL query to be returned. One of the nice things here is that we have all the prompts that are available to you, and this is in context of the account. So it's only showing stuff that was used when trying to create accounts. What's nice here is that you can also go to all prompts. So what it'll do is it'll bring up prompts from other users as well. So you can maybe get an idea of how other users are prompting the system in order to be able to get the data that they need. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try and use the AI prompt. We're going to say we want all accounts um, that have contacts and where the annual revenue is greater than $4 million. Be sure to add the description field. Okay, let's ask AI and see what comes back. Now, sometimes it fails. It just doesn't understand what you're trying to do. But hopefully, something is returned, and you can see here. So, it provides a reasonable query. You obviously want to make sure that you're using, that your query is accurate. So you can use the query, and then um, you can make adjustments as needed. Okay. So this one isn't quite right here because it's trying to select the contacts, but it's actually not using the criteria to make sure that the number of contacts is zero. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to remove that. Um, leave it like that, just to keep things simple. But of course, once the query is there, you can test the query and make sure that it's okay. That's good. One of the other things that to note here is that you can say where accounts are owned by me. And how you would do that is you'd say where annual revenue is greater than 4 million and owner ID equals, and then instead of using user info or putting in the ID itself, we have a special thing here called current user. You can use that, and you can test the SOQL. And actually, what it'll do is it'll test it with that data, and it understands current user, and then you can use that. Okay, so now this query is going to be looking for all accounts where annual revenue is greater than 4 million, and it's owned by the current user. Okay, so what we're going to do next is now what it does is it tries to understand the all the fields that are associated with this account. It does look like it's missing a field here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a column here and add in description, and the type will be string. As a matter of fact, I hope. There we go. I hope that there we go. Okay. Now the other piece of this puzzle is transformations, which is a new feature in Simply List Views Enterprise. Very useful if you have a transformation that you want to perform on the data that is coming into this particular column. You can create an Apex class and use that as a function. The function passes in the S object as well as um, the S object row as well as the field, so you can identify exactly what you want to do with that transformation. Maybe if it's a null, you want to set it to just to make sure that the user does something, or please update, or you can kind of make it how you want. But that's kind of where we're looking at right now. We've added in our columns. Click next. Yes, we'll allow it to be configurable, and we click save. And then this is going to go away. It's going to save the list view And then we would be able to, in Simply List Views, go and look at that particular list view, that custom list view. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to focus on the tool here. So those are for creating list views. And of course, when creating list views as well, when you've got custom list views, you can also do metadata API and other APIs as well. So you can do standard SOQL, which is what we did, and then we can do tooling and metadata API. So that's very useful from a create perspective. Update list views. Obviously, it's pretty much the same as what we've got. You can go and you can find your list view, and you can. I think this is the list view that we just created. So you can go in here and you can make any changes that you want. Okay. And then you can, click save and move on. Cloning, very much the same. You can just choose either a standard. We can choose a standard one that we want to clone here. We'll call it demo test 7. It does need to go and get the configuration of this list view using the metadata API, but okay, there are all we can add another field in. Don't want to make any of those others. We click save. And of course, it's using metadata API with a deployment here to push that list view into the environment. So we need to make sure that we have all our data correct. There we go. The list view has been cloned, and now we can go and we can see the list view. Okay, so those the 3 of those. Delete is very nice because it does multiple deletes, right? You can delete in batch. So what we can do here is we can find those list views that we've created. Let's go and have a look at and remove them. So here are all the list views that we've created inside of account. And let's say we want to move these or delete them. Sorry. Okay. We can click next, and we just make sure click delete. Yes. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to try and delete these 3 list views. And of course, it needs to do a deployment using metadata, and hopefully everything will come back and it will say, yes, those 3 list views have been deleted. So that is the list view management tool. There is a lot of new features that will be coming, especially with AI, around how list views are created. But there we have the tool, which hopefully will make Enterprise a very useful enhancement to anybody's Salesforce org.